Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and today I'm going to be going over the event objectives for the Journey of the Crest event. It is Dragon Week, which will make for some pretty interesting teams. One thing I do want to mention before I get into these is this is about the most valuable week you can possibly ever use event keys, at least on PC and mobile, for this Dragon event. Mainly because Dragon Soul is the only legendary within the drop pool, so within about a 50 or so, you will hopefully be able to get the Dragon Soul. And it has 50% extra stats this week, which is even more insane. But let's go into each one of them. Today we have to go and, or this week we have to go and help Visk and summon a bunch of dragons. Visk does not need to actually be in your team, you just need to summon a dragon in PvP, and every time you do, you will get an event gem. The easiest way to do this is just go into PvP, go to whatever your one trophy is, and use something along the lines of this. A sacrifice with dragon eggs, preferably with a Kristarnex if you happen to have, but you can just use it with double dragon eggs, or you can even put an alchemist or something in. And the general premise is we're going to keep using sacrifice to kill everything out, and then Kristarnex and the dragon eggs will be able to keep summoning. Do keep in mind, regardless of what you do with this team, you will need at least one thing to kill out your enemy with, because you do not actually get the event gems unless you win the battle. So that's what our Kristarnex is doing in this particular team, but you will need to have something there if you do not have a Kristarnex in order to finish off the battle. So we're mainly going to be going for purples whenever we can. I have the banner set to a +2 purple, just so we can get it up as quickly as possible. Then I just go and get Kristarnex whatever mana it needs, either the green or the blue. Probably would have been a little bit better to go blue in that case, but we'll go and just throw down the Kristarnex. That will get us a summon, and we just keep repeating this until we inevitably win. So, wow, that almost just team wiped it right there. I did get 7 in a single battle earlier, but this appears to be a little bit flimsier than the one we were doing previously. But just get up to sacrifice, kill out your last slot, and just keep repeating. Right here, we'll go for the blue, hopefully get an extra turn in that general area while we get it off the purple instead. And we can completely get rid of the dragon eggs. They do have a 25% chance that they'll basically just give you an additional summon, but we really don't need, like that, there we go, with him doing that. But we really don't need that. Just the egg summoning whenever they can, and particularly Kristarnex, will be a sufficient amount. And then we can just end it out, and we'll get, how many is that? I think like 3 or so event gems. And since we only need to do 100 this week, this will be one of the quickest weeks to ever get to the max amount of event gems, as long as you have a Kristarnex. If not, it will take a little bit longer. You'll just have to do it with dragon egg summons. But there we go with all of the event gems. So let's go into the next one now, and this is one that many people would already do even if this wasn't the event week. So we're going to be seeing a huge amount of that. Also, don't forget to collect them. If you don't collect them by the end of the week, you won't get them, but whenever you see them, just click them and go and collect. But this right here, use a full team of dragons in PvP. 5 additional glory. There are going to be so many dragon teams this week. There's a lot of different variants. I'll probably do a whole video later of all dragon teams for early game and late game, but many of you probably know this one. Oops, wrong banner. Many of you probably know this one. I've done it a lot on stream, just used many variants of this, but this is my personal favorite as far as all dragon teams are concerned. Even on weeks where they have 0% bonus, I tend to use teams similar to this, and the fact that they have such a huge bonus, there's 25% for all mystics as well as 25% for all dragons, and that means Dragon Soul has 50% this week, as well as the new troop that came in has 50% this week as well, the new Dragon Monk. So both of those are going to be very powerful, and as I said earlier, event keys, Dragon Soul is in the event keys this week. So you definitely want to try getting that, especially since it has a 50% this week. That's pretty insane. It's one of the best soul farmers in the entire game, able to do 15 souls per cast, gets a lot of explosions, that's based on its magic, and it deals damage, which is static based on how many dragons you have on the team. By default, it'll do 11, 8 plus it being a dragon, which will then be 11, 8 plus 3, and then an additional 3 for every additional dragon, which means he has a max hit of 20 to all enemies, which is pretty strong, especially since you can do that as soon as you get him in a drop. I was really glad when I ended up getting him on my Let's Play account because of just how powerful he is particularly earlier on in the game, because, oops, I should have taken the yellow first, because he doesn't really scale up that much. The only thing that really scales up on him is his stats, of course, like everything does, and the amount of gems that he explodes. And that's not always too needed. It's somewhat helpful if you want to get like all of your mana up, but it's not really something that's absolutely mandatory. Okay, so we'll just throw this down, and that will get out a decent amount of damage. Kristarnek's damage does increase, since it does have that 20% extra bonus. Not too worried about that, since we have a Salvani Mora to be able to deny out the most of that damage. So, it doesn't look like we can get a Shadow Dragon. I normally only use Shadow Dragon if it has alignment. It's mainly here for the +1 purple. And like right here is where we would use it if he doesn't ruin it, and he doesn't. Perfect. We are frozen, but I'm still going to use it. It'll get some poisons off and do quite a bit of damage to, true damage to one enemy. Okay, we got like 3 different extra turns there, all of which we were frozen on, unfortunately, because our whole team is frozen, and we're covering every single color. That's one of the only really big downsides to covering every single color, is if you're up against like a Queen Mab or anything that can freeze, they'll pretty much be able to deny every single extra turn you have. Whereas if you're missing a color or two, it's impossible for them to freeze you on those colors. That's about the only benefit there really is to not using every single color, but it's a pretty big one if you're actually facing something that can spam freeze quite a bit, because you can see we're going to be missing every single one of our turns. The only thing we're not frozen on right now is brown. But it's not going to matter. 1 Dragon Soul, that'll be a little bit more souls for us, and the match. Oh, never mind, barrier. So it's going to get those barriers down right there. We will have to deal with that, so now he's going to live. So we'll just kill that with, okay, that he did not live. I guess the skulls procced the barrier, and then the damage hit him. That was a weird sequence, but I guess that does take off the barrier first. I did not know that. Well, now we know. Dragon Soul is even stronger against barrier and stuff than what I previously thought. So let's go into one other one. This one is mainly if you happen to get, oh, not against a Wraith. Gosh, Wraiths. Let's go and use one more focus on Dragon Souls, and we're going to throw in the Dragonian Monk. As I said, he does have a 50% bonus. Those are from the event this week, 25% to all Mystics, 25% to all Dragons, though for the most part you're mainly just going to be using all Dragons, because even at 0%, those would be viable. But we'll go into this. This isn't an all-dragon team, so we're not getting 5 glory. Of course, you easily could put a Kristarnex or something in here and make it a all-dragon team. But for those that don't have Kristarnex, who can easily just get Dragon Souls and then get the Dragonian Monk, I figured I show this one. Of course, pretty much whenever you use a Dragon Soul in your team, very, very rarely would you not, but you'd want to use the Absol banner, +2 purple, +1 red, -1 yellow. It's the absolute best banner you can give for a Dragon Soul, simply because that's the most possible mana you can start giving to him. Pretty much any team you use a Dragon Soul in, you want to rush getting the Dragon Soul first as far as mana is concerned. So right here we got pretty lucky, starting with a nice brown. We'll be able to get him to trigger. Let's see, where will we do this? We can target it, unlike the previous rogue. I don't know if the other rogue can actually target now too, but let's see, I think right there would work. No. That actually just gave him skulls in the corner. Fail. I'm still not too used to using the, I was mainly aiming for yellows there to barrier our whole team. I'm still not really used to using his X thing, because I'm used to Dragonian Rogue that is stuck with having it in the middle. What his ability does is what I assumed Dragonian Rogue would have done, but it's cool that they finally have to be able to target anywheres with an X. There's quite a bit that you can do with that. The only problem is it's really hard to tell sometimes where all the gems are going to go, and he might just take too much time to figure out then he's even worth using on a team, because you'd have to spend at least like 10 seconds every single time you want to cast him trying to figure out where on earth you want to do it. But here we go with the Dragon Souls. Dragon Souls are really, really good at just looping. They can even loop with themselves if you have a good enough board setup. And we have the Giant Spider here, who pretty much from every single explosion is going to get full mana, especially if you're not blocking it in any way, such as the team we are doing now. So we'll just take any of our mana that we need, keep poking with the Dragon Souls, and they'll eventually just die. As I said earlier, you can put a Kristarnex there. That would allow you to do 20 damage to all enemies instead of just 17, but 17 is sufficient, really, with no extra bonuses. With him just doing 11 damage to all enemies, that's still a pretty adequate amount of damage given how much you can loop it. As you can see right now, we're just keep casting the same one over and over again at this point. You always won't get that lucky, but when you have 2 of them, you can easily just keep shuffling them back and forth to destroy your team. So yeah, definitely throw out all your event keys this week and try to get a Dragon Soul. It is arguably the best troop in the entire game right now. It's definitely one of the best, without a doubt. And it gains souls for you too. You can see pretty much every single battle we're doing here is giving us max souls because he gets 15 souls per cast, which means if you cast it 3 times, you'll always get the max capacity of souls for a battle. And normally you can get 3 Dragon Soul cast off. Sometimes you only get 2. I think one of the battles we did earlier, we only got 2. But more often than not, you'll end up reaching the max capacity. But anyways, that will wrap it up. I'm going to have a lot of fun today messing around with all these dragons. Oh, I wonder if Bone Dragon is powerful right now. Gosh, all 3 of them. Anyways, that'll wrap it up for this video. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a wonderful week.